Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Shri Swaminarayanaya Namo Namaha. Shri Hari Krishna Maharajaya Namo Namaha. Om Shri Ghansham Maharajaya Namo Namaha. Shri Sadgurubhyo Namo Namaha. Welcome to SwaminarayanSpirituality.com. This is Sachin Karnik. Today is the 21st of October 2024. I want to offer my prostrations to Bhagavan Shri Swaminarayan, Shri Ji Maharaj, and to all Gunatit saints, all devotees, Paramahansas of Maharaj, all great Paramparas, Guru Paramparas that are present today, and to all devotees, all bhaktas in the world today who have come before, yet to come in the future. My Dandavat Pranam to all. With that bhavana, I'm going to continue right from yesterday where we left off, where we are examining this extraordinary question of Maya in terms of the question asked by Shet Govardhan Bhai to Shriji Maharaj, and then Maharaj's answer, and then in that answer, there are some footnotes written in the app that is freely published by BAPS organization, where a statement spoken or written by Yogiji Maharaj is what we have been looking at, and that is something to go into much further today also. So first of all, please keep in mind that sages who are very evolved, very enlightened, who are filled with saintliness, their words are God's words. God is speaking through them. You see, there is so much glory of enlightened sages. Bhagavad Sant, Bhagavan ke jo sant hai, the enlightened sages are living in that Brahmic consciousness. So whatever they speak, any great sage who has reached the Brahmic state is constantly enjoying Brahmaras. Brahmaras. There is a poem written by Sadguru Muktanand Swami, and that poem is Anubhavi Anandama Brahmarasana Bhogire Jivana Mukta Jogiya Antar Arogire. See, that's the first line of the first pada, it is called. Pada means like a poem. It's a poem, it's a rhymed poem. So there are four of them that in sequence, each one with 4 lines. So Muktanand Swami is directly talking about Anubhav and Ananda. This is what we all want in life. Everybody wants the realization of the Atma, realization of Akshara Brahman, realization of Paramatma, Bhagavan. Every Jivatma is really only wanting that. But the mistakes are made due to the influence of Maya, due to the force of Maya. As per Vachanamrut, Shriji Maharaj has mentioned very, very clearly that the obstacles that come in between when a person is trying to connect with Paramatma through bhakti, when a person has become a bhakta, and then in that state of a bhakta is engaged in dhyana. Right? So this is the background. I'm just quickly covering some of the background. That is all implied here as we move ahead in our contemplative exploration and discussion. Because the dhyan that Shriji Maharaj is referring to is a type of dhyan that is done by the bhakta of Paramatma. Bhagavan no bhakta hoy તેને ભગવાનની મૂર્તિનું ધ્યાન કરતા જે પદાર્થ આડું આવીને આવરણ કરે તેને માયા કહીએ. See, without that stage of devotion, then this kind of dhyan is not really applicable. You cannot do it. How can somebody get connected in the meditative absorption of Ishta Devata, of Paramatma, manifested form, Sakar form, without great conviction of the presence of Paramatma in that form or as that form, and then to connect with the great bhav and feeling and devotion. How is that possible unless one is at the stage of a devotee, stage of a bhakta? So that's why Maharaj has used the word bhakta. And I talked about this before in some previous recordings. I'm quite sure about that. Right? So that's just a quick review. So as we are moving further in our contemplative exploration of the multiple interconnected ideas, what do we find? We find that, continuing from yesterday, that there is this extraordinary state of seva. Seva means service. Service to God. As we were looking at this yesterday, every action in the 24-hour cycle can reach a state of seva. That is amazing. So we don't have anywhere near that. Even devotees have a hard time reaching that stage, probably because they don't know that's possible. We do some seva, some archan, pujan, bhajan, kirtan, manan, chintan, things like that. Some kind of focused sadhana is done from time to time, and that is fine. That's necessary. But then the mind and our indriyas and antakarana and everything reverts right back into the obstructions within that are present. The faults, the inner faults. So those internal enemies, I just want to review this because I may have talked about this before in this series, but it may be in some other series. They are called Shad Ripu. Let's be very clear about this point. Shad Ripu means enemy, and they represent the fundamental negative tendencies and emotions that obstruct the aspirant on the spiritual path. They obstruct our spiritual growth. And these enemies arise from avidya. This is the Sanskrit word. We need to be very clear because we need to understand this word, which is used in Vedanta, and that understanding of the Vedantic terminology is necessary to truly unfold the answer given by Shriji Maharaj. Okay, so we're going to unfold it very carefully here. Let's go slowly. Let's understand first of all and be clear about the 6 inner enemies. They are Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya. There are 6 of them. That is, desire or lust is number 1. Number 2 is Krodha. Number 3 is Lobha, which is greed. Krodha means anger. Lobha means greed. 4 is Moha, meaning delusion or this entangled attachment. 5 is Mada, pride, arrogance. 6 is Matsarya, jealousy, envy. These are the 6 inner enemies. And they arise from avidya, which is the causal body. And that is what Shriji Maharaj stated many times, that he has come to destroy this avidya. That is the purpose of his manifestation. So that we can realize who we are as per Garada Pratham 20, that is the Atmic realization, which is the whole Vedanta, Advait Vedanta is right inside Garada Pratham 20. We can actually realize who we are, our Tattvic nature, and in the state of oneness with Akshara Brahma, be in a state of upasna of the upasya, that is Bhagwan Purushottam Narayan, Paramatma, in simpler language. This is the essence of the entire teaching and manifestation of Bhagwan Swaminarayan or Shriji Maharaj, which is the essence of all the scriptures and 10,000 plus years of Sanatan Dharma, what Sachin just spoke right now. It's all in that much. Now we want to really unpack this carefully, unfold it slowly and carefully. So I want to offer again my prostrations to Maharaj, to all the sages, to all the incarnations, and for their blessings. So first of all, these inner enemies, they arise from avidya, which could be translated as ignorance, lack of realization of one's own true nature. Sachin doesn't realize that Sachin is the Atma Tattva Chaitanyam. I don't have that. If I don't have that realization, then the Jivatma is in a state of ignorance or avidya. And due to this state of ignorance and avidya, there is the binding of the individual to the cycle of birth and death. And that is what we call sansar. Sansar is that material manifestation where the Jivatma, due to its avidya, is stuck inside this cyclical prison of sansara. Right? Hopefully this is clear. Now, overcoming these inner enemies, meaning transcending them, is essential. It is absolutely essential for attaining self-realization, which is called Atmagnan. In Hindi, it is called Atmagyan. In Gujarati, it is called Atmagnan. In Sanskrit, maybe Atmagnan, like this, maybe it may be pronounced that way, I think. Right? Anyway, but it doesn't matter how you want to pronounce it. It means realization of the Atma. An actual realization, not just some belief or just some ideas or ideology. No. Sanatana Dharma, and particularly Shriji Maharaj, he's not interested in conceptualization. He's interested in getting to the point of realization. And that is why the answer to the question about what is Maya, the form of Maya, has to do with a very practical, applicable sadhana, that is dhyan. And in the commentary that we were looking at of Yogiji Maharaj, he said, Mahimano Vichar, the glory of God, the glory of great sages. In every action we're doing, in every seva that we're doing, where action becomes seva, the things we talked about yesterday, what does that do? That bridges seva with mahima. Seva plus mahima. Seva meaning activity, mental, physical, verbal activity is all done in the service of the Lord, by the will of the Lord, as the Christian language would be. And it is done with the glory of the Lord, the glory of God, glory of Ishtadevata, Bhagwan, and great sages. So 2 points were combined there as per yesterday's conversation, and that is seva plus mahima. So when we combine these together, that becomes a great foundation. Seva plus mahima. And when you add them together, you have another component, natural vairagya. So really, another way to put all this is ekantik dharma, dharma, gnan, vairagya, bhakti, the 4 principles, the 4 amazing qualities, liberating qualities. But there's different ways of putting this, and we need to look at it in as many ways as we can. So seva plus mahima, when the act of meditating on God, either in a secluded place or in a temple or in one's heart or during any activity, physical activity of different kinds, or offering all actions to God, so many things, so many ways. In any type of action, in any type of sadhana, there is a direct transmutation of the 6 inner enemies, because the energy that they are sucking up is freed up. Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moha, Mada, and Matsarya. All 6 of them. These are energy vampires. They are energy drainers. They are the internal Shatru, Antara Shatru, Shad Ripu. Amazing. And they are causing lot of damage to the body, to the mind. And in our other programs, we talk about that in more detail. But here I want to really stay focused on the answer Shriji Maharaj gave and really expound on that and not move away from that too much. I mean, it's not really moving away, but I want to try to stay within some boundary here. So let's go back to these points very carefully. So far, we have looked at the word avidya. There's two words here, a and vidya. Vidya means wisdom, knowledge, seeing things as they are. Knowledge is not just information here. It means jnana. To see clearly the obstacle that is hindering the bhakta in the process of connecting with Bhagavan, Bhagavanini Murti. In the process of connecting, there are obstacles. And those obstacles are all coming from these 6 inner enemies. And then the ramifications, the bifurcations, the further expansions of these 6. There's different classifications also. I'm just looking at these 6 for now. But that's what they are. These are the obstructions. Sachin starts to meditate on God, on the Murti of Maharaj, or Murti of Krishna, or Murti of Shiva, or whoever our Ishtadevata may be. We start to do dhyan, and our mind goes in 10 different directions. But wherever the mind goes, it's going to go within the realm of these 6. Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moha, Mada, and Matsarya. It will be in one of those 6, definitely. I can be thinking about a family member and be worried about a family member. Yes, does it mean we should not be worried about No, it's not about, we do our duty, but the act of attachment, the entanglement within is part of the moha. That is why Shriji Maharaj gave this niyam of nisneha vartman to the sages and to everyone in general, to go beyond the attachment even for the limited number of people that we're surrounded with. We love them all. But attachment is not love. Attachment is moha. It is delusion. It is part of this avidya. That these people are mine, I and mine. Hu and emaru in Gujarati. It is said hu and emaru. That is the delusion. The word delusion, by the way, means false belief. That word is different from the word illusion. And in Advaita Vedanta, the word illusion is used in many ways. And that is, it's more along those lines of what is called adhyas. Shankaracharyaji's extraordinary commentary, Adhyasa Bhasyam. But that is a much more tattvic thing to look at. Some other time, we'll look at that when we cover Garara Pratham 7 or some other Vachanamruts like that. Bhagavad Ichha. I don't know when we will ever get there. Doesn't matter. Doesn't make any difference. We're just taking it as it comes by the grace of Bhagwan. Anyway, let's get back to this. The inner enemies are energy drainers. And even though the word Shakti is not directly used by Maharaj in the answer, it is embedded in the answer. How is it embedded in the answer? Because I'll show you where it is embedded. He says, Bhagwan no bhakta hoy, right there. If you are a bhakta, your Shakti is already moving towards bhakti. You cannot do bhakti without Shakti. And that Shakti is Mahalakshmi, is the Devi, is Radhika Ji, is the internal Kundalini. You can call it whatever you want to call it. But we have Shakti inside of us. Without that, there is no activity. And that Shakti is coming from God only. It has only one source. There's no second source. Source with a capital S. There's only one source. So the Shakti is in the Bhakta in the form of Bhakti. Right there. Although that is not explicitly stated that way, that is already in the language itself. It's already embedded in those in the truth behind the words. Bhagwan no bhakta hoy, tene Bhagwan ni murti nu dhyan karta. See, now look at this. Dhyan karta. Karta means you're actively, a person is deliberately, volitionally, actively, intentionally performing the act of dhyana. But they've reached a stage of dhyan, or trying to reach that stage of dhyan where there is no friction, as we've talked about in previous talks. But here Maharaj is saying that there is obstruction that comes. That means that the stages of dhyan is not reached. See, there is implied in the answer also, dhyan karta je padar. Karta means attempting to establish an unbroken dhyana. It's not yet established. He's attempting to establish dhyan karta. He didn't say dhyan thai gyu ke dhyan nistiti thai. He didn't say that's not what the language is. Vachanamrut language is absolutely amazing. It is as precise as it can get. It's really, if we keep our attention on it, the most extraordinary truths come out of it. And it's not just Sachin saying that. Sachin is, kis jhad ki patti, just a very ordinary, just an ordinary sadhak. There are thousands and thousands of devotees and saints. They're a billion times more advanced. And who is Sachin? Trunadapi, Sunichena, Tarorapi, Sahishtuna, Amanina, Manadina, Kirtaniya, Sada Harihi, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu states. We keep that bhavana. So Maharaj is saying that when the sadhak, the bhakta, the mumukshu is attempting to do dhyan karta, je padartha adu avine avran kare, tene maya kahiye. Once the attempt is made, when a sadhak tries to connect with Paramatma, my God, this is where the entire show begins. And Maharaj is directly talking about dhyan here. The question is about Maya. What is the form of Maya, meaning the structure of Maya? In a more elaborate way to put the question, what is the direction, dimension, depth, structure, which we talk about in other programs? The quantity, quality, direction, dimension, depth, structure, all those aspects of Maya. There's thousands of aspects. That's why he's saying Roop. Even the question is asked in the most interesting way. Bhagwan ni Maya kahe che? That is that which is known as the Maya of Bhagwan. What is its form, so that we can see it? We can directly perceive what it actually is. That is the structure, just like an object. Although it's not an object, physical object in that sense. Although physical objects can be obstructions. So dhyan, the activity of meditating on the murti, requires Shakti. And this is where Brahmacharya comes into the picture. As Nishkulanand Swami said, Brahmacharya is Brahma Swarupa. Now there's so many amazing things here that the krupa of great sages, of great santa, that is necessary to reach this stage of dhyan. So you can take a photo of a great sage, or in actual, if you have the person available in front, ask for those blessings, or write a note or letter or something. Ask and you shall receive. If the asking is 100% genuine, automatically the receiving is going to be there. And what is the significance of the grace of saints? So I'm going to read a small rhymed set of verses from Bhakta Chintamani, written by Nishkulananda Swami, and this is in the Prakaran number 2. So I'm going to sing it out loud a little bit here, but then we'll talk about it a little bit here. See, what he says here is that Santa Krupaye Sukha Upaje, Santa Krupati Sare Kama, Santa Krupati Pamiye Purana Purushottama Dhama. See, what is the power of the Krupa, of grace, of great sages? Santa Krupaye Sukha Upaje. The first thing that happens by the grace of enlightened beings, if we want the grace that we're looking for, so that we have unobstructed flow in dhyan of our energies and of our buddhi and everything else towards Paramatma, is that Santa Krupa. And Krupa means grace. And what is that grace? That is the benediction given by an enlightened being who is fully awakened to awaken the dormant being. Jota se jota jagavo, Sadguru jota se jota jagavo, Mera antar timira mitavo, Sadguru jota se jota jagavo. See, this is a beautiful, very famous bhajan. It's on YouTube. You can put this on YouTube, and it's a Hindi bhajan. And that's what it means. That is Santa Krupa. And if as Sachin is speaking this is being said only for the mind of this being. If you are listening to this, and if you find anything meaningful, it is for your mind. It is not Sachin who is telling you anything. It is being expressed as a seva to be placed in front of the world by the will of Bhagavan Swaminarayan and great sages, to open this extraordinary spirituality to a worldwide community, so that everyone is benefited by the Amrutam, the divinity, the spirituality that is present in every single word that is written by the Paramahansas of Maharaj and spoken by Maharaj himself, Shriji Maharaj. Okay, so having said that, see this just one line. Santa Krupaye Sukha Upaje. By the grace of an awakened being, Upje meaning that this Sukha meaning Ananda here, this word Sukha should not be understood in that Sukh Dukh duality. Upje means it is sprouting from inside. The Anandam, that is part of the aspect of the Atma, is opened from inside. Why is that open from inside? Because it is a direct destruction of the Shadripu and the destruction of Avidya. That is why. Ask and you shall receive. So the grace of enlightened beings is to remove the Jivatma from the cycle of birth and death. Janam Maran Nuchakkar in Gujarati, and Gunatitanand Swami said it so fantastically. Amne to ek જ વસ્તુ આવડે છે, જન્મ મરણનો રોગ ટાળવો. The disease of birth and death. He put the word disease in there. Think about this. How what vision is there by Gunatitanand Swami? Unki drishti kya hai? And he's a specialist, the Gunatit saint. His name is Gunatit. Gunatit saint is a doctor, specialist, to remove the disease of birth and death, to take the Jivatma out of the pangs of birth and death. and make that Jivatma an Akshar Mukta. Akshar Mukta is a liberated being with form. The form is just like Purushottam Narayan in the Akshardham. It is not male or female. It is Satchidananda Vigraha. And it is all divine, Divya. And it is indescribable. It's just beyond any imagination. One has gone outside the entire structure of Mahamaya. Mahamaya is Mahashakti, Mahadevi in all of her billions of forms. But when she will release the Jivatma, if the Jivatma is ready to be released, otherwise the Jivatma remains in the womb of Mahamaya. So there is a phenomenal amount of contemplative activity done in a state of reflection when a sadhaka, when a mumukshu begins the spiritual journey through Santa Krupa. Santa Krupa is sukha upaje. Santa Krupa thi sare kam. That means that by the grace, Krupa Drishti, of the enlightened beings, our path towards Paramatma begins. It gets activated, and the Anandam begins to open. It sprouts from inside the heart. Santa Krupa thi pamiye Purana Purushottama Dham. What happens once the full Krupa is there? The Krupa is from inside. The actual Krupa that we're asking from the saints from the outside, when we ask for it and it is received and it is activated, upajay, it is activated, it begins to sprout open, and the sukham, the anandam begins to open from inside, and our journey begins. Where does that journey take us? It reaches a destination, Santa Krupati Pamiye Purana Purushottama Dham. 3 words here. 3 words are written. The Dham, that is Akshar Dham, Akshara Brahma. In that Akshar Dham, there is the Akshar Dhami. That Akshar Dhami is the goal that is residing in the Akshar Dham, and to be in seva of that Parabrahma Purushottam as a Akshar Mukta is the goal. Seva Muktascha Gamyatam Tatta Brahmatmana Krishna Seva Muktascha Gamyatam. Shikshapatri. Santa Krupati Pamiye Purana. Purana. See, this word Puran that is used by Sadguru Nishkulanand Swami. All the Upanishads are in that one word only. All 108 Upanishads are in that word Purana. In the famous verse, Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vishishyate. Right? It's very famous. That state of completeness, Purana, that Dham is complete. It is Purana. That is what the Upanishads are talking about as the Brahman, Akshara Brahman, Akshara Dham. Amazing. It's absolutely astounding. You see, when we actually begin this journey requires this Santa Krupa. It requires patience. It requires time to sit quietly and contemplate. It requires saintliness and removing divisiveness with others. Even if you are whoever is listening, if you're part of a religious organization, that's fine. It's perfectly beautiful as long as there is no dislike for anybody else who has a different viewpoint. Wish well for all. See, we referenced Yogiji Maharaj, in his life, from what I know at least, and my studies and all on this, that he used to say throughout the whole day in Gujarati, Bhagwan sarvanu bhalu karo, Bhagwan bhaji lewa. That's Purna Sadhu. He's not part of any groupism, any one sect or anything like that. That is the most foolish thing, to place great sages inside sectarianism, groupism. It's ridiculous. वो एक संत का अपमान है. It is an insult to the great sages to even say that they're part of an organization. How ridiculous is that? It is an insult. It is the greatest insult to even use that kind of language towards enlightened beings. They may be a head of an organization. Any organization is only a means to an end. It's never an end. And unfortunately, in today's world, there's so much groupism and divisiveness, and I don't want to go into all that. That's not our vision. But that is a contamination in this pure spirituality of Bhagwan Swaminarayan, of the Sanatan Dharma, of Bhagwan Krishna, Bhagwan Ram, Navdurga Devi, Navdurga forms of all the Sanatan incarnations, all the incarnations of God. It is, we as sadhakas have to evolve out of limitations. Otherwise, there's no chance of ever getting a glimpse of this Purana Purushottama Dham. Impossible. Read Gopalanand Swamini Vatu. See what Gopalanand Swami has stated. It says, Sapnam apan akshardham nahi dekhai. In the dream even, you cannot see the dham. One will only be divisively present in this prison of Maya. That is the fact. So when a sadhaka sets the destination, when a bhakta reaches a state of true devotion where all 24 hours are seva, and that seva conjoined with mahima of Paramatma, it opens up phenomenal divine energy that is used for continuous frictionless dhyan. This is a matter of sadhana. It is a matter of connection, mumukshutvam. It is a matter of actually walking the path. Vachanamrut is for those who are actually interested in walking the path towards God. In any tradition, any religion, any which way you want to go, no problem. It's for everybody. It's for everybody. But it's specifically for those who have set the destination that we want to realize God. That's why householder devotees like Govardhan Bhai are asking these very important questions. Otherwise, why would they ask, They wouldn't ask these questions. Okay, now there's much, much more I want to cover. Let's cover a couple more points here. I don't want to overload too much. There's a lot of stuff to go through here. But, there's no end to all that. I mean, that's the power of Brahma Vidya. Brahma Vidya doesn't have any end. And avidya also is endless if we are stuck in that. So both are there. So one has to be very careful. So we are carefully progressing ahead. So to continue further, it's possible to set an intention to really connect with Bhagavan. Because without an intention, nothing happens. Nothing can happen. We can set an intention that I want to reflect on the glory of God, Now, what is this Mahima? I'm going to go through a list here of different qualities. This is written really more in terms of the Christian tradition, but it's completely applicable to everything in Sanatana Dharma. The same qualities are there, just different languages there, that's all. That Bhagavan, who is Pratyakshan Pragat, is omniscient, omniscience, all-knowing. God possesses infinite knowledge of all things, past, present, future. That's a matter of Shraddha. To actually have Mahima, the glory of God, in our minds, that is only possible when we believe and have faith and Shraddha that Bhagavan has infinite qualities. Ananta Kalyanakari Gun. They're redemptive qualities. But it's not just, of course it's redemptive, but it's even more than that. So this is how God is, Bhagavan is perceived in the Swaminarayana tradition, Sanatana Dharma, in the Bhakti paths, etc. That Bhagavan is omniscient. God is omnipotent, omnipotent, all-powerful, can do everything. Maharaj himself said, Bhagavan is Sarvakarta, Sarvaharta, Kartum, Akartum, Anyatha Kartum. 3 words are used. Kartum means all-doer. Akartum means the non-doer. And Anyatha Kartum means can bypass any laws that are created and can do anything. Chahe so kare. Prabhu palama chahe so, palama chahe so kare. That is omnipotence. Amazing. If you look at these qualities, omnipresent. Bhagavan sarva vyapak hai, present everywhere. Present everywhere. God exists in all places at all times, transcending physical limitations. Bhagavan has boundaryless compassion, infinite love and mercy. Gunatitanand Swami said that. Buddhi daya ane karuna Bhagavanna swarup mati aveli. That is called boundaryless or boundless. Boundaryless also, but boundless compassion. Infinite love and mercy. Ananta prem, ananta shama. Daya, shama, shanti. God's compassion, Bhagavan's karuna, is limitless. Embraces all beings without exception. That is called boundless compassion. This list I'm going through here is extensive list. I'm going to go through all of it. And that, to hold these qualities inside, that Bhagavan is like this and like this and like this, this is called Mahima. And from that Mahima, that glory, love begins to sprout. It begins to open, as we were saying before, what Nishkorananji stated. He said, Santa Krupaye Sukha Upaje. Santa Krupati Sare Kama. Santa Krupati Pamiye Purana Purushottam Dhama. See, this is Prakaran 2, the second line. How fantastic. I'm deliberately trying not to talk fast, as you may have noticed. My tendency is to talk very fast. But in this contemplation, for myself mostly, it is not about how much we cover, it is how much is absorbed. Each and every idea being presented here is Amrutam, not because Sachin is presenting it. It is being presented to Sachin through the scriptures, through the krupa of all the scriptures and sages, and it is just presented, is coming in the mind that way. It is not by Sachin, is not telling anybody anything. Anyway, let's get back to this. Omnipresent, boundless compassion, karuna, ananta karuna. By the way, this list is from the Christian tradition. Amazing. But you will notice that ekam sat vipraha bahuda vadanti. The monotheistic faiths are completely, in terms of monotheism, are aligned with Vachanamrut monotheism. Vachanamrut is monotheistic. Shriji Maharaj has presented a monotheistic interpretation of Vedanta. But it is very evolved in terms of Panchbhed Tattva Gnan. Anyway, look at these qualities. I don't want to divert too much. These qualities are to be held inside the mind. Omniscience, omnipotence, omnipresence, boundless compassion. That's the fourth one. Fifth one is eternality, timeless. Bhagwan is beyond Kal, Kalatit. Timelessness. God exists. Bhagwan, Paramatma. Whenever we use the word God, by the way, in terms of our Vachanamrut recordings, it refers to that Aksharatit Paramatma. Beyond Akshara Brahma, there is Bhagwan Purushottam Narayan, Parabrahma Narayana, Purana Purushottam Paramatma, the Mool Tattva that is Narayana. That is what we're referring to from a Tattva point of view. So God exists beyond the constraints of time, with no beginning or end. Bhagwan is Nitya. The Akshardham is Nitya. It is Sanatan. The word Sanatan means eternal. And along those lines, Bhagwan is immutable. Immutability is a quality, unchanging nature. That Murti in Akshardham, Kishore Murti, is unchanging. But it is not like a physical object that is, it's not like that. It is not like that. It is that Bhagwan is Chaitanya. It's ever new, ever new, ever new, ever new. And the muktas, the Akshar muktas in the Dham, are drinking the rasa of the Murti. They are lost in the Murti. They are absorbed in the Murti. They are upasaks of that Murti. They don't want anything else except that Murti, because there is the continuous flow of Ananda. In Vachanamrut, Maharaj has said, Bhagwan ni Murti sakarna nariyal jeviche. If sakarna nariyal means a coconut that is made out of sugar. Like, imagine for a moment a coconut. Everything is made out of sugar. The outside, the inside, the water, everything is sugar. So it doesn't matter where you eat it from. It is all sugar. Sakarno nariyal. And he said, Bhagwan ni murti ma ek rom ma kotan koti brahmand nu sukh jakhu padi jai. Sarangpur 10. Billions of universes, if you combine the sukha that is there under Maya of billions of universes, that doesn't even compare to even a fragment. Ek rom no kotina bhagma pranati aut. It doesn't even come to a fragment of the body of God. That is immutability and divine beauty. Super aesthetic perfection. There is nothing more beautiful than Paramatma. If this world that we see people go on trips, Hawaii and Alaska and this and that and so many places, right? Mountains and all. That is just a reflection. Pratibhasika Satyam. We'll talk about those also as we go into the Vedantic angles in this. That is just a reflection. But reflection, where is the source of Ananda? Where is the source of Saundarya? As Shankaracharya ji has written, Saundarya Lehri, that great goddess, she is the most beautiful. And that is the Mahamaya. That's why in the Sri Krishna has stated, Daivi Esha Gunamai Mama Maya. But it is my Maya. And it is divine. So the beauty is actually coming from Paramatma, that Murti in the Akshardham, then it comes into the Mahamaya, as per Swaminarayan Tattvagnan. Because Mahamaya is another form, it's some certain power, Anvay Shakti. We'll get to that some other time. That's a very Tattvagnan-oriented discussion. We'll leave that aside for the time being. But the point is that the source is only one. And that source is divine, that is divya. Divine meaning that which is divya. The word is divyam. And beauty meaning saundarya. The good translation in English is supreme aesthetic perfection. So God's nature and creation reflect a perfect beauty beyond human comprehension. This is the seventh quality. And this is the list that I have pulled together. This is not from any scripture or anything. This is like a combination from lots of different places. I pulled it together to show the interconnection from diverse traditions that is actually covered in the Swaminarayan Sampradaya, in Satsang Jivan, in many places, and as the great qualities of God in terms of the word Mahima that is used by Yogiji Maharaj to open that word. We're going to go through this entire list. Divine beauty, supreme aesthetic perfection. So God's nature and creation. The creation, we have some purview of creation, and not until we actually connect further through bhajan, kirtan, through mantras, etc., through shraddha, through Guru Kripa, through scriptures, until we connect, we will not know what is God's nature. So God's nature and creation, God's nature is absolutely perfect. But this word, God's nature, it could really refer to the manifested forms here in the realm of Prakriti. God's nature and, what am I trying to say? The manifested avatars who have their own nature. That's what we could interpret it that way. God's nature and creation reflect a perfect beauty. What kind of beauty is this? It is divine beauty and it is perfect beauty. Isn't that what we're looking for? Why do you think through the names and forms, there's so many dresses and so many perfumes and so many hairstyles? And what is the point? It is an attempt to either make oneself much more perfect and much more beautiful, etc. It is an attempt through externalities to get a glimpse of that which is eternal. But those externalities remain only externalities. And one gets caught in those externalities, mistaking that experience of that is through the senses is going to open that door, or that experience is actually the same as that real, pure, uninterrupted joy that's divine beauty. It is a reflection only. But it cannot exist without the original. There's so much can be said. The whole scripture, Saundarya Lahari, is in this one. It's just, it would take lifetimes to, unpack all of the different mantras and all that are connected with this idea of perfect beauty. But this is how God is described. God is the most beautiful, perfect beauty beyond human comprehension. That is the seventh quality. So with that, we will stop for now. There are many, many more. We could wind up spending the rest of this year just talking about this Mahima, but that's fine. It's not about how much to cover. It is how much is ingested and digested and realized. That is of much more significance than how much material is just covered. Right? So anyway, with that, lots of prayers, blessings for the whole world from the Akshardham. May Bhagwan and all saints, all beings be blessed. People come out of pain and suffering. May the wars that are going on in the world today, may they end, and people awaken into real truth and realization, have compassion for each other. Negative tendencies, and this is our intention. Whatever is going to happen is going to happen. Is happening. Is under the realm of Maya. That's the way it goes. But by the grace of Bhagwan, Yoga Kshema Baham Vyaham, as Bhagwan Krishna is stating, by His grace, by His krupa, He can take us forward on the spiritual path. And then, by the grace of the entire Sanatan Dharma, we can reach a state of Jivan Mukti. And when the time comes to leave the body, there is total liberation. So with that, Bhavana and Prarthana, Jai Shri Swami Narayan, Hari Krishna Maharaj ki Jai, Ghansham Maharaj ki Jai, Sarva Santan ki Jai, Sadguru Deva ki Jai.